get back into the Super Bowl. All right. Looking at the quarterback, of course, you got Matt Ryan, who went from an MVP to his usual. In fact, even a little worse than usual. All right. He went from a guy that had a great interception turnover to interception ratio to a pretty poor one. I think it was 20 and 12 in 2017. Yeah, he wasn't exactly on point during that season. A lot of it blames on the offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian, and they're hoping that another year with Sarkisian would result in a rebound, but I would hold my breath. Yeah, he is a good quarterback, but I don't know. I don't think Sarkisian's the right guy. Anyway, looking at the running backs, of course, you got the two-headed monster of Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman. Freeman is definitely probably one of the better backs, and I think he might be the main back. However, Tevin Coleman there is a bit of fear with Coleman with him probably being a free agent at some point. Because he is in the last year of his rookie deal. He doesn't have the fifth-year option since he's not a first-round pick. So there is real legitimate concern to see if he'll be able to be back with the team. I think they got some other players they want to extend to, as well as re-sign. So Coleman might be a unfortunate casualty. They don't want to lose him. Don't get me wrong, but it just might be one of those. Well, our hands are tied kind of moment because you got Devore Campbell and Debo Jones who are going to be free agents in 2020. So getting them locked up is a very big priority. They got a couple other players they also do want to lock up. I think getting Julio Jones locked up for the rest of the years. I think maybe some offensive linemen, etc., etc. And of course, defensive tackle Grady Jarrett. But that's for another day. But I think Coleman just might be one of those unfortunate casualties. They don't want to lose him, but your hands are tied. And of course, looking at wide receivers, you still have one of the best in the NFL, Julio Jones, and now you got really a very intriguing partner in Calvin Ridley. I don't know if he'll be quite Roddy White-like back when Roddy White was so useful. But this is an interesting partner to pair him up with. I mean, they got him because BPA and all that. And it is going to be interesting. I do really like him. I thought he was mostly played with bad quarterback play because, SEC and all. And I think he'll do very well, especially, with Julio getting a ton of attention. And this does result probably in fewer snaps by Mohamed Sanu. That's going to be very disappointing for Sanu. But hey, I am very anxious to see how Ridley does with that team. And in tight ends, of course, you have Austin Hooper, who's decent. I mean, he had 2 good games and then disappear for the rest of the NFL. That's not what they wanted. The offensive line is definitely something they want to look at. I mean, you got 2, I'm going to be generous and say solid tackles in Jake Matthews and Ryan Schrader, even though they're not perfect, but you don't need to immediately replace them. And of course, there is a competition at one of the guard positions, that being the right guard position. Right now it might be Brian Fusco, but he's had some poor seasons as of late. And going against the NFC South, that's with guys like Gerald McCoy and K'Wan Short and Sheldon Rankins. That's not something you want to. That's not something you want to have a problem with. And of course, the center so far, who has been one of the best in the NFL, Alex Mack. Yeah, he is pretty good when healthy. Who knew? And overall, the offensive line is solid all around. I mean, sure, they would like to solidify that last guard position. I mean, that's a position they've been wanting to solidify for quite a while. But Alex Mack definitely helps hold this defensive line up front. I think his arrival definitely made this line improve and play a lot better. But they also want to keep, but they do want some big improvements out of guys like Jake Matthews and Ryan Schrader. They just want better. They want better. It's fine, but you want better. And the offense is fine. It's good all around. It's good all around. I mean, sure, they would love to improve that tight end, but what you're going to do with a poor tight end draft class and a free agency that you just kind of miss out on. And I do expect this offense to rebound pending any injuries, and that's one of the things that have benefited this Falcons offense. The health of it. They haven't been hit with as many injuries. Like when they signed Alex Mack, I thought, okay, he's probably going to miss quite a few games. He's going to miss probably about half the season or so. But no, so far he's had 2 completely healthy seasons. They're looking at a third healthy season, and they might get it out of Mack. They may really do. And of course, looking at the defensive line. Hopefully, they're putting Vic Beasley at edge rusher. Come on, guys. They want to try and use him like Bruce Irvin, but it's more like Frank Clark. He's better when getting at the quarterback. I mean, you took a guy that was Defensive Player of the Year material. I think he did win Defensive Player of the Year last year. I'm not sure. And you put him at outside linebacker, and of course, he played like crap. He's better off when he's playing on a defensive line. Sure, he's pretty light. I think he's still at 248, which is what he weighed back during a trap. But come on, put him on a defensive line. Have him primarily rush the passer. Don't have him drop back in coverage. He looked terrible. Quarterbacks don't fear him when he's dropping back. They fear him when he's getting after them. I mean, what's wrong with you guys? And of course, the opposite edge rusher that they're hoping does turn out well is without a doubt Takk McKinley. I think when you have both those guys rushing the quarterback, that's a very similar combination to what the Colts had back with Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis. I really think they can be like that, but again, put them on the defensive line. Don't have them drop back. Get them after the quarterback. Here's the thing. I'm not a fan of the Falcons. I'm not. I mean, you can see why. But still, speaking from an NFL perspective, put those motherfuckers on a defensive line. Don't have them drop back. Don't. Use their talents well. And they have a talent of getting after the quarterback. Because you know what's going to happen? They're going to go to a team that makes them get after the quarterback and watch them turn into all pros. Guaranteed. And I'll do admit, you guys have a good also interior. I think Grady Jarrett has really been standout. Do you guys still have Jonathan Babineau playing? Unless he retired, I'm probably wrong, but still. I mean, I think they have Jack Robert playing the other side, but hey, you guys have a fine defensive line. Again, it'd be better when you guys had. Said enough. Moving on. All right. At linebacker, you guys got a pretty sneakily good linebackers with Debo Jones and Devontae Campbell. And I think you could also see Duke Riley get more snaps for this team. I do like Duke Riley. I guess he was pretty raw. He barely saw any playing time, but I could definitely see this guy starting for this team with Campbell, Jones, and Riley. They're small linebackers. I mean, pretty light, but they're definitely fast. They'll move sideline to sideline. I think those linebackers are going to be very good for this team. Especially with the sideline to sideline speed, it will definitely help. All right, and finally, looking at the cornerbacks, they had a huge miss with Jalen Collins. Unfortunately, he turned out to be a huge idiot by getting in trouble a lot. But you know what? his fault. And they drafted Isaiah Oliver in the second round, so they got a nice guy to play on the outs. They got a guy who they could probably play on the outside alongside with Desmond Trufant. One guy that, and I know they have Robert Alford, but I'm pretty sure they want to kick him into the slot. They want to have this guy play in the slot and have Alford, like I said, Alford in the slot, and have Oliver and Trufant play the outside. So there's always that. And of course, your safeties are Keanu Neal and Brian Poole. Those are some that's a decent safety core. I think if I had to point out one problem, it's maybe the safeties. I think Neal has been a pleasant surprise, so I think he's more of a strong. I think he's better playing close up than deep back, but that's just me. But they do kind of want more of a ball hawk. I think they grabbed one at some point, probably escaping me at the moment. But you know what? But I think this defense is fine all around. I mean, they do need kind of a thumper, someone who's more strong than fast. But it's clear that they want this athletic linebacking core. Only, like I said, their biggest problem is definitely kind of weight. They are pretty much on the light side, but it does work to their advantage with how fast they are. And the team is fine all around, but they always seem to be that team that. But to me, they're that team that you think it's assembled so perfectly. They have everything they need, but something just doesn't go right. There's something about this team. There's something about that team that you want to see improve dramatically. Like they should be doing way better. They should be doing way better, but they're just not for some reason. They're not performing to what many people expect. I mean, if I talk to Atlanta Falcon fans, the few that they are, they would tell me about how successful they are. How they're probably poised to get back into the Super Bowl, probably make it a dynasty, et cetera, et cetera. But still, there's just something about it where, you just want to go, are they really back? Is this a team that really can make a run in the NFL? Or is this a team that, despite everything they have, everything just seems to be in their way? Just seems to be, kind of slowing them down and putting a halt into what could be a very dangerous team. Very dangerous team. And I really think so. I think this team is fine. It has enough talent, but there's just something about it. Is it coaching? Is it the type of players that they have? It's very perplexing because it's not a talentless team. It's not like, say, the Colts or the Jets where they don't have enough talent, or even the Bills where they didn't have a ton of talent, but they were well coached. This is a team that has talent, and the coaching staff is fine, but there's just something about it that really prevents them from making the big leap and getting over their past mistakes and sins. And looking at their schedule, it does have some difficulty. I mean, you're playing the Eagles first on kickoff. That's one hell of a matchup. Good luck with that, Atlanta. And of course, they also have to play the Panthers and the Saints. I mean, those are a tough 3 games. And they also have to play the Steelers. With a Week 8 bye, and of course, after the bye, it does get a little more difficult playing the Cowboys, the Saints again, the Packers, who they have had a very good track record of taking care of them the last couple games. I'll give them credit. I do think this team, in theory, can make the playoffs. Oh, before I forget, this team also plays on Thanksgiving night against the New Orleans Saints. Unfortunately, it's on the road. But hey, what can you do? It's always a pleasure to play on Thanksgiving. And I think this team is going to do. I do think this team's going to do well. It's not going to really. It's not going to really struggle pending any major injuries. I think that's one thing where they have just gotten really lucky on. It's injuries. They have been more durable. It worked in 2016. I mean, heck, I think they were the only team in the NFL where they had 0 offensive line shifts. Like the same 5 guys were starting and played about 99% of the snaps of all the games. So that was a huge thing for that was a huge accomplishment for them. And I'm sure 2017 they did have some problems. You know, they had Wes Schweitzer play the other guard position after the last guy, Chester, Charles Chester, I think, or Chris Chester, retired. So they had a hole there. They got Brandon Fusco, but he's been kind of a liability the last couple of years. But I think this team is going to be fine overall. I see this team probably going maybe 11-5 again. They're really going to have to compete with the Saints and, of course, the Panthers for the division title. I mean, I'm not counting the Panthers out despite what I said in my last video about them, but this Atlanta team definitely has some challenge. The one game I do want to see them against is not the Saints, them playing against the Saints. It's actually them going against Dallas. When two teams, perfectly healthy, and have all the players. I mean, last season, they were the Cowboys were without Ezekiel Elliott in their top left tackle. Both of them were out. I mean, of course, that's the game where Adrian Claiborne exploded because he was basically going against a practice squad tackle, but that's besides the point. I really want to see those teams when they're fully healthy, have all their players, and they're able to really compete. I mean, it's back in Atlanta like it was last season. But this is going to be that's a very most interesting game. Can both those teams, when healthy and have all their players, really dominate and show their stuff? Because that could in theory, be the NFC Championship matchup. But regardless, I think this team could honestly be a 10-16, maybe 11-5. Probably back in the playoffs, depending how the rest of the teams do and how they fare. And the key thing, like always, is durability. Till then, catch you later.